YouTube, what up? Welcome back to channel Adrian TV, and y'all know me as Adrian. But before we get into today's video, y'all know what y'all need to do. Subscribe to the channel, like and comment on the videos. Also follow me on Rumble where I post. And if you have a Ask Adrian question or a great topic or great video you want me to react to, please do not hesitate to reach out. You can hit me up on one of my social media platforms. And if it's a great video, topic, or question or suggestion, I will definitely shout you out. Now on this video, I have famous R&B legend Mary J Blige. She talks about alimony. Now on this channel, you know I've talked about alimony before and my thoughts about it. My thing is, I believe in child support, but these ridiculous amount of alimony that people have to pay in after a divorce, I disagree with, regardless if it's a man paying a woman or a woman paying a man. Now, I know women tend to think differently about this topic, especially when you bring up prenups. But before I even get into that, let's watch this video clip of Mary J Blige talking about how she has to pay alimony, and I'll be back to tell you my thoughts.
Your thoughts on prenups and how would you approach it, or what advice would you give as far as for a woman that may be wealthy, well off, and they're looking to get married?
Get a prenup. Because I didn't have one, and that's why I ended up having to just give everything away, because it's so, let me just speak, it's so whack right now that men, you know, can come at you and get and get alimony. So when I was getting a divorce, I was like, you mean to tell me I got to pay him? And he cheated and he lied and he stole, and you know, not to get all petty, but you know what I'm saying? You mean I gotta pay him for cheating and lying to me and ruining my life? So yeah, and the law is you have to, you know, so I say get a prenup, cover yourself up. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. Man, my wife is here, so baby, I love you. So you said you're debt free.
So
now, a few things. You notice Mary J Blige said bring up a prenup. Now, if you remember in my Kendra G video, she talked about she is not sure she wants to get married because of certain assets she might lose because of marriage if they decide to divorce. I'll make sure I leave the link in the description. But it's funny how when men are the breadwinner, and men ask women to sign a prenup, you often hear women complain about, you don't love me then? That means you're thinking the relationship is going to end. But when you see women on the flip side, women are saying, no, we need to sign the prenup. Just like Kendra G said in that video, which I will make sure the link is in the description. And to be honest with you, I am glad more women are speaking up about this, because the only way I feel this rule will ever change if women become more vocal. I mean, she has to pay alimony, Kelly Clarkson, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe Sherry Shepherd has to pay alimony to her ex-husband as well. And I think it's outdated and the laws need to be updated. Now, here's my thing. If you have kids, I understand child support, but it needs to be realistic. You shouldn't have to pay ridiculous amounts for people just because of a certain lifestyle they used to live. Get up, put your shoes on, and go work like everybody else. And I agree with the Mary J Blige situation. She shouldn't have to pay her husband that ridiculous amount of alimony. I think it said $30K. That's ridiculous. He should be able to get up and work. But since the laws are outdated, it's always going to be this way. And you know what? Before I go to my next thought, let me read a few commenters. A few commenters did speak on the issue. And before I read the comments, shout out to What's Brewing official. I believe that's Chase's Reds. I think I said his name right. Brother, if I said your name wrong, my bad. I believe that's his company, so definitely a big shout out to you. I'll make sure to link his channel in the description, because if I'm putting anyone's content on my channel, I want to give them the support. So I appreciate you on that. Now let me read a few commenters comments on that video. This commenter said, also, it's funny how they want other women to get a prenup when they're the breadwinner, but when it comes to men being the breadwinner, they don't want him to have a prenup. How much one-sided can they be? Now, she should know how men feel when women make men pay them alimony. This is what they ask for, equality, but only to benefit them, but don't want the responsibility that comes with it. Can't have it both ways. If you want equality, accept the responsibilities that come with it. That's true. This is equality. But that's why I said it's going to take more women to speak out against this for the rules of alimony to change. Another commenter said, welcome to our world, Mary. Maybe, just maybe, you'll have some sympathy for men and help to change these laws. Like I said, the only way it's going to change if more women start speaking out. But if you understand the dynamics between men and women, the sexual dynamics between men and women, what have I always said, and a lot of people always said, because I didn't make this up, but a lot of people say this, women do not date down. Low key, this is one of the reasons why, because if a woman gets married, women know in the back of their mind about alimony. That's why women will rather be by themselves than settle for a man who makes less than them, because they could be in the same situation that Mary J. Blige is in. And another commenter said, who happens to be a woman, she said, fair game. Y'all wanted equal rights though, right? Shaking my head. And yeah, I agree with all what those commenters said. Like, paying that much of alimony is ridiculous. Here's my thing: when people get divorced, if I came in with something before you, that shouldn't be split. And say if I built up a business and you didn't help, you shouldn't get any of that. Now, like I said, I understand child support and visitation, and I think people should both have visitation rights with their kids and both have equal time with their kids. But as far as alimony and the numbers you see, just because someone is accustomed to a certain lifestyle, that is ridiculous. Now, I know people say, well, what about the kids? Regular kids do not cost 30K, 40K, 50K, even 10K. They don't. It's because people are living way outside their means. And like the Mary J. Blige situation, her ex-husband was so used to living to that lavish lifestyle. Because of the laws, Mary has to pay him to keep up that lavish lifestyle, which I don't believe that's fair. I don't believe it's fair when it happens to men. I don't believe when it's fair when it happens to women. Because I want all men and women to understand this. I am not biased. I call it straight down the middle. I'm not for men. I'm not for women. I'm actually literally for equality and for things that are right. But that's my take on the situation. And now women are starting to become more frustrated because now more women are making more money, and I think more women are going to surpass men. That wage gap is getting closer and closer. So I think this is going to be the times until laws change, especially when it comes to alimony. Because I've always said, even on my Room 1031 channel with Maurice, I've always said I will never get legally married until they change the laws. But that's my thoughts on it. I want to know, how do y'all feel about that? How do you feel about alimony? Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I appreciate the support. I will see you in the next video.